Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Gear Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to talk about a bit of news that came out, not that yet, but probably about yesterday, about Doctor Strange. And this video will be probably titled, Why Doctor Strange Was Not in WandaVision. Kevin Feige was doing an interview yesterday, and he actually, gave away. He didn't even have to say this, honestly. But, I guess he felt like, might as well say it. It is what it is. It was done as done is. That they had planned on having Doctor Strange appear in WandaVision. In fact, they went as far as to the original scripts were at least the first drafts, like some of the first drafts were written, and one of the things that lingered in through the drafts was having Doctor Strange in it, to the point where they thought they were going to do this. They had signed Benedict Cumberbatch to a contract to appear in WandaVision. But somewhere along the way, while they were in the middle of like getting it together, they realized, or at least Kevin Feige realized, at least himself, that Doctor Strange's appearance in WandaVision might take away from the story of Wanda Maximoff, because that's what the story's about. Yes, it's called WandaVision, and you do get some beautiful stuff from Vision. You get some great acting from Paul Bettany, but Vision's dead. Vision is dead. So it's really about Wanda and grief and her dealing with that and her moving past that, and how this woman has been broken over time. It's really about her and her dealing with that and her coming to terms with what she is and coming to terms with the loss that she has had. And that's what it's about. And in Kevin Feige's mind, because Kevin Feige gave 3 reasons. 1 was he didn't want to take away from Wanda, and 2, he felt like putting Doctor Strange in it he used a word that I can't remember off the top of my head, but essentially he felt like putting Doctor Strange in this, and pretty much any other cameo of another character outside, a big, Avenger hero would take away, would almost make WandaVision less of a thing on its own, less of something you could just watch on its own, which to me, I do think WandaVision works as a contained thing because it's so unique, and he didn't want it to be, he didn't want it to be like a prequel, basically. He didn't want it to be like, WandaVision's just the setup to Doctor Strange. Like he didn't want, if he felt like if he had any other, if it was particularly Doctor Strange, but mostly any other big cameos of huge characters that didn't really make sense being here, that it would just make it seem like the show, the last thing people would be talking about was Wanda and her story and her journey and what she's going through. They'd be talking about the big thing, what's happened next, what's the movie. They wouldn't be talking about Wanda. And and the last thing, which I'll just touch here because I know that's the thing, I will say what pisses me off about some people who are making a big deal out of this last tidbit is John Campea is 100% correct on this. I don't agree with John Campea all the time, but he's 100% correct about this thing in particular. The last thing he said was he didn't want to have, in the end, Doctor Strange just shows up and saves the day and teaches her magic. But in particular, he said he didn't want the white dude to show up, save the day, and be like, here's magic, I'll teach you everything. He didn't want it to go that way. He felt like he was like, I didn't want it to go that way. And of course, people grab that because anytime you mention, I don't get it. Like, I'm not sure. Anytime anyone mentions white dudes, white guys, white men, it's just like, I don't know what's going on. Like, it's like anytime. Because if you remember in Brie Larson's whole spill not that long ago, when Captain Marvel was coming out, she said a lot of things in her little, sentence of words that she said that got people riled up. But the only thing people heard was white guy. White men. I was like, what is the deal with that? Are people, is your dick that small that, that it hurt your feelings? What do you mean a white guy can't just show up and save her? And John Campea is totally 1000% on the money with this. The MCU, out of the 20, at this point, 25 MCU projects that have been done, 22 of them, I believe it's something like 22 or 23 of them. 22 of them were white male leads. And if you want to go even further, even 24 of them were male leads. So like, you know, like not 24, like 23 of them were male leads. Like 20, like I think it's something like 21 or 20 of them are all or white leads. And it's not a big deal. No one's saying it's that big of a deal. Does that mean that I don't like Captain America Winter Soldier? Captain America Winter Soldier, one of the greatest comic book films of all time. Does that mean Iron Man isn't one of the greatest comic films of all time because it's a white dude? No. Does that mean I think Thor Ragnarok isn't one of my favorite comic book films? No. But it's just acknowledgement of what's going on. He's just acknowledging the fact of the matter is we've done that, we've had that. I didn't want to do it like this, and not to mention that was the third thing he said, which means he didn't just make this decision because, oh, I don't want white. That's not why he made the decision. And I know people out there, Andy, ignore all these people. There are already a lineup of videos of people trying to say Kevin Feige's so woke, he didn't put Doctor Strange in the movie because he's a white man. Really? As he's about to make a Doctor Strange sequel with Doctor Strange as the lead, he didn't want to put him in there because he doesn't like white people. As Doctor Strange is about to happen. That doesn't even make sense. No. He was just self-aware of how it looked. Like, he's a dude too. He's reading this stuff. He knows this stuff too. He's sitting back, he's looking at it and going, you know, if I was going to the theater, if I was watching this, and then, you know, all this journey you go on with Wanda, with her emotions, with all this stuff, and then just Doctor Strange shows up out of nowhere and saves them. He's like, that would be a thought that comes through my mind. So, of course, there'd be a thought that goes through other people's minds. And, like, it wouldn't have been a thought, it wouldn't have been a thought that went through my head, though I do agree, it would have taken away. That's where, like, I was like Josh, like, I have not been on Dead Nerds for a while, because Josh is just, I don't know that dude. Because, like, literally, I'm like, because some people are arguing, like, well, no, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have took away. It would have been cool. I'm like, that's it. That's all you got for me for Doctor Strange being in there. It would have been cool. Oh, well, where is Doctor Strange? She's threatening the multiverse. Do you know this entire event of WandaVision takes place over the course of a few days? Like, a day or two. Like, it's not like it's taking a course over the course of weeks. It's a day or two. We got no fucking clue what Doctor Strange is doing. We'll find out in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness now, won't we? But I digress. It is stupid that people are upset about that. And like I said, dude, it was funny to me. It was hilarious to me to see that that's the thing. Like the idea that, oh, it's cool. So that's, like, I agree with Feige's decision. Like, at first, and you see my videos, I kept saying, maybe Doctor Strange should show up. Maybe Doctor Strange will show up. But in my mind, the more I sit back and think about it, especially after WandaVision, people spend so much time talking about the theories, talking about these cameos, talking about that. They never stood to look at what the actual story was about, which was Wanda. That's what it's about. It's not about your fucking theories. It's not about the setup. It's like, that's how the MCU works. That's how the MCU's been able to work. First, people say, oh, I don't want to watch all this shit. I don't want to watch like 20 episodes, or I don't want to watch all these shows to be required viewing. And the MCU says, yeah, we don't want you to either. Sure, if you watch everything, it means more, but you don't have to watch everything. You don't have to watch WandaVision. You don't have to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier to understand the bigger MCU. But I tell you one thing, it will add more context. You will know more. It will be more meat on that bone for you. It will be more juicier for you. And that's how it works. And he did not want WandaVision to just be Doctor Strange 0.5, which is what it would have become. Because by the end of WandaVision, no one would have been talking about Wanda. And like I said, I don't know what the fuck Josh is talking about. Like, Wanda was the biggest character and the biggest character in House of M. Yes, she was after the fact, but as House of M was going on, who was the main character of House of M? Once it started going, who was it? It was Wolverine. I love Wolverine, but let's face it, he was the main character of the story, of the actual story. Wanda was just a bystander in her own story, as she has been in some of her bigger stories. And that's what happened there. Because I remember as WandaVision was going on, I remember people talking about that, how they didn't want Wanda to be like, oh, okay, so she's going mad and everyone else has to react to her and she's less of a character and she's just a crazy lady. And that's not what the MCU wanted to do, and they didn't do that. They made it the focus on her, not on all the other stuff. And I commend Kevin Feige for that, because he didn't have to. He could have easily have put Doctor Strange in there and it would have just, it would have got a bop. It would have got a pop. People would have been cheering. But like I said, it would have completely taken away from Wanda. I completely agree with Kevin Feige. At least on this, I completely agree with Kevin Feige. Maybe he didn't have to bring up the white thing, but at that point, he was just keeping it real. Keeping it real, because that would have been the biggest talking point. Talking point is, of course, some dude just shows up and saves her, and now I'm gonna teach you the ways of how to use your powers. Like, you know what I mean? It would have been a bit. It would have been. Now, could someone else have appeared? Could they have put a Mordo in there, maybe? Could they have done some more with the post-credit scenes? I think they could have, but they for damn sure shouldn't have had Doctor Strange just show up and save her at the end, which is how it was originally written. And I think he even said they had to rewrite sequences in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness just because they didn't have them in this. So it's like, okay, so whatever would have happened didn't happen. So, that's my opinion. I agree with Kevin Feige, but anyone who's like fucking like sticking on this, like if you disagree with Kevin Feige and you think he should have been in it, that's cool. To a degree, maybe I could see Doctor Strange being in it. I agree with Feige, but you know what? I can talk to you about that. If you think he should have been in it, I can talk to you about that. I could talk to you in the comment section about that. I could do that. But if you want to stick on that whole white person thing, on the whole, I didn't want a white guy, just a white guy to show. If that's going to be the sticking point, if that's going to be the big highlight thing on the board, then I'm not about that. Like that's the problem with the people today. That's the problem with the people. That's the problem with clickbait. That's the problem with stuff like that today, is that people just highlight something, like highlight a word or a sentence inside of a paragraph of something, like an entire speech. Like, see, he said this, and it's like, come on, man, really? You're just ignore all the other shit because of that one thing he said that you just feel uppity about because you're such an insecure bitch that you can't fathom the idea the people don't want to see you or whatever your color is over and over again, and the fact that you're still getting what you want. The fact that the concept of sharing, you feel like someone's taking away from you. But I've already talked about that with Brie Larson, and I'll probably be talking about it again. But anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe, and please comment below. What are your thoughts on Kevin Feige removing Doctor Strange from WandaVision for the narrative? For the narrative, not for anything else. He did it for the story. Not for the hype, not for the clicks, for the story. And it actually makes sense to me in terms of, because you know in your heart, if he shows up, you're not talking about Wanda. You're not talking about Wanda. You're not talking about the grief part. You're not talking about the beautiful last sequence he had. All you're thinking about is Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. He's here. I wonder when he was here. I wonder he takes the thumbnails of the last episode. Like, I'm telling you, if he shows up, he takes over the whole fucking thing. That's it. It's just him. So thank you guys for the Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.